gave us 3 common negative EMR emotions. And I love this framework because you said, generally speaking, people using the EMR feel stupid. In other words, they don't know enough to really get their job done. They felt more effective before they had the EMR because they were the master. They understood how to get things done. So they feel stupid. They feel discomfort. Using the EMR sometimes to them feels like I just gave them a hand-me-down. Like, here's my brother's shirt, put it on. Yeah, it covers you. You're good. It's one size fits all kind of thing. But they feel there's discomfort. So stupidity, discomfort. And then the third you said was hopelessness, which is they just throw up their hands and say, there's nothing we can do. You just got to grin and bear it. We're just going to make it. So these are the 3 really deep emotions that you got from the survey. But I love the fact that the findings, from there, you could really build out what you need to do to address stupidity, discomfort, and hopelessness. Can you talk to the things that successful organizations have done to not have those negative emotions present?
No, that's great, Bill. You explained it better than I've tried to. So in order to not feel stupid, I need to be a master around the EHR. It's a core piece. There's a lot of studies. Stanford did a study showing that a majority of the time of my patient engagement is actually spent in the EHR. So the EHR is becoming something that I spend, half or more of my time in as a clinician or a physician, depending on my specialty. And so if you're now spending half of your time in a tool and you don't know the tool very well, you're going to hate your life. But the flip side of it is that organizations that do at least 6 to 10 hours of training for new physicians and 3 to 4 hours of training a year on the newest functionality, but even more than that, they have great trainers. So Deaconess Health System, their trainers can't get hired until they can teach their IT and informatics leadership something really cool, like how to barbecue, or how to cross stitch, or they have to be engaging and interesting, right? And they have to be able to capture your heart. So first, in order to not feel stupid, you have to create mastery. And we all know what a great teacher looks like. We've all had those in college and high school, and so you need to have those in place in an organization. So that you don't have a bunch of physicians who are unhappy.
Does a clinician want to learn from another clinician, or are you more looking for a great trainer and storyteller and communicator? What do you like?
We've seen 6 organizations where they say that they have, and only 6, where they say that they have physicians that are doing the teaching. And at 4 of those organizations, they have really, really high satisfaction. At 2 of them, it's pretty mediocre. So I think that actually might be a fairly good split. A physician teaching a physician can be amazing, and sometimes it's not. And sometimes there's, I think physicians would say there's some of my colleagues that I would rather not be trapped in a room and have to listen to them for a few hours, and there's some of them that are going to be way better because they get me and they understand me. So at the end of the day, we also see other organizations. Mayo Clinic has participated in this, and we did a case study, a write-up on them. They had incredibly high training scores, and we came to them and said, who does your training? And they said, it's all non-clinicians, but for several months when they're onboarded, they have to go through and learn all of the clinical workflows, and essentially they have to come up to speed. They have to become educated about clinical workflows before they're allowed to be a trainer. And they said, so for us, it works great. So it's possible to either way. It's probably a little bit better to have clinicians teach clinicians, excluding the cost side of it, but you can be successful either way. It just has to be a great trainer. It has to be a great teacher. It has to be somebody who doesn't just tell you what you need to know. First, they tell you that they capture your heart and mind, and then they help you understand how this is going to be applicable to your life, and then they tell you what you need to know. So anyway, so that combats the feeling of I'm stupid when I use this. The second piece is this is kind of one size fits all. This isn't for me, and I present a lot out, and this is one of my favorite things to do, and steal it from me because it works really well and it communicates things really well. But I always say, hey, especially if I have a group of physicians in the room, I say, what technology works the very best for you? And I always see 10 people pull out their cell phones and hold them up, right? So I walk over to one of the physicians. I've done this a bunch of times. Walk over to one of the physicians. I say, can I see your cell phone? They pull it out. They hand it to me. And I say, can you unlock it for me? And then they get nervous. And it's great. And so then they unlock it. And I say, okay, this iPhone right here, mine is not an iPhone, but it always is an iPhone if it's a physician. I say, this iPhone right here, you say is the most usable piece of technology in your life. Yes. What would you grade this iPhone? Oh, I'd give it an A-. It's super usable. Okay, great. I'm now going to take your phone. I'm going to wipe out all of your personal preferences. I'm not going to delete anything. So all of your pictures, your emails, everything's going to be here. But I'm just going to put your apps in alphabetical order, and your lock screen is going to be default and all that sort of stuff. It's just going to all be default.
Does the person jump up and tackle you to make sure you don't do it?
Yeah, but that's the point, right? Is you want to see those personalizations are like sacred to you, right?
Yeah.
And they matter a lot. And you hate getting a new phone because you have to go put them back in. And I never, of course, erase it. But then I turn to him and I say, okay, let's say that I actually did that. How would you grade your phone for usability now? They say C-, D+, right? And then we say, look, you moved your phone from a C- or a D+ to an A- because of the effort that you put into it to set it up to make it work well for you. The same is true for the EHR. But Bill, I don't know if I said this out of chime, but guess what percentage of physicians have taken the time to set up their EHR? It's less than 40%. Yeah. And so of course they're walking around. They're all walking around saying, I'm being stuck with C- and D+ technology. And we go, oh my gosh. And over 95% of organizations, those who have taken the time to personalize their environment are dramatically more satisfied than those who haven't. And in the organizations where that's not true, they have a really problematic EHR. And so you need to look at the technology itself. And then lastly, the hopelessness comes. I'm not frustrated that I have clicks. It just comes because I walk into you as the IT and informatics guy or gal, and I say, hey, I'm really frustrated with this. And rather than find a real solution with me, they just say, I think that's kind of how it is. And rather than give me a real answer, they just tell me, well, sorry, tough, that's what it is. So your most successful organizations have put a lot of thought and effort into Brian, too, at Greater Hudson Valley Health System, their previous CIO, who's now their Chief Transformation Officer, that tells you a lot about who he is, said, look, there's only me and one other person in my department who can say no. Everybody else either has to fix the problem or escalate. And when your IT analyst and your front line has to either fix the problem or escalate, turns out that there's a lot of things that they can do to fix the problem. So they have a better problem-solving group, and they end up having better clinicians. They end up having better teamwork and better communication. So a lot of that rests on the shoulders of your IT and your informatics group. How good are you at solving your clinicians' problems and helping them make the technology work for them?